Thank you for attending this case conference. My name is Laura and I'm here as a social worker and key clinician who will be discussing Sarah's case management plan in the practice setting of a voluntary residential community mental health program. The case management plan for Sarah is centered on a socially just and human rights-based practice framework, with the predominant practice approaches being strengths-based and relational. The intake form in the context of this mental health service is comprehensive. However, for the purpose of this presentation, the key components of the intake form that relate to Sarah's case are risk factors that include any self-harm and/or suicidality, protective factors including relational support systems such as family members, Sarah's mental health history including any current mental health diagnosis and associated needs, Sarah's interests, hobbies, goals, and aspirations for the future, Sarah's cultural and gender identity to ensure that practice is conducted in a culturally safe and responsive manner as in line with the AASW Code of Ethics, and finally, ethical principles of consent and privacy, outlining the way in which Sarah's information will be recorded, stored, and if applicable, shared with other services as stipulated in the Code of Ethics. It is important to also acknowledge the limitations of the chosen practice approaches, as the systemic and structural factors that impact individuals can be overlooked if not careful. It is therefore crucial to conduct an assessment that is holistic and wisely considers the broader social context in which Sarah is living. The assessment tools applied in collaboration with Sarah were the EcoMap and Timeline, as in line with the Australian Association of Social Workers Code of Ethics. Sarah has given her consent for me to disclose that she experienced a traumatic event and was sexually assaulted 3 months prior to her first hospitalization. Sarah has been referred to the residential program by her general practitioner, Dr. Smith, and was diagnosed with a mood disorder 3 years ago. Sarah expressed that she has had feelings of low mood and apathy and feels as though the world is against her. The EcoMap shows that Sarah has a strong reciprocal relationship with her older brother Jara, despite not being able to see him regularly. Sarah also describes close relationships with her 2 friends from high school, Frankie and Freya, who are a great support to her. Sarah's relationship, however, with her mum and dad is currently described by Sarah as stressful and conflicted. Sarah would like to move back to the family home and is very occasionally allowed to stay with her parents, but would like this to occur more often. Sarah describes herself as an avid artist and has expressed interest in being a peer facilitator for art classes at the residential program. However, Sarah has said that she no longer wishes to do this. The assessment tools highlight the presence of Sarah's supportive relationships, relational goals, and aspirations for her future. Areas for further psychosocial supports and community connections are also apparent when looking at Sarah's timeline and EcoMap. Based on this information, it is my assessment that linking Sarah with trauma-informed support services and addressing Sarah's feelings of apathy is of high importance in the case management plan. In addition to this, it would be crucial to develop a routine in collaboration with Sarah's family regarding Sarah's living arrangements, alongside reconnecting Sarah with her interests in art to enhance community engagement and in turn foster Sarah's overall well-being. This leads us to the intervention phase of the case management plan. The intervention plan is trauma-informed and has 3 main areas of focus. Firstly, safety planning and implementing mental health support services. The safety plan will be created in collaboration with Sarah and is led by Sarah. It is my responsibility as the key clinician to ensure this is completed in a timely manner as a matter of priority and shared with all relevant stakeholders and key residential program community workers. With Sarah's consent as her key clinician, I will also initiate a referral to Victim Assist Queensland. Sarah meets the eligibility requirements to engage in this service and can obtain financial assistance following the traumatic event that Sarah experienced. To garner further mental health support services for Sarah and assist Sarah with symptoms of PTSD, as her social worker and key clinician, I will complete an internal referral for one-on-one trauma-informed counselling sessions with a female counsellor only at the community residential program. The second key focus of the intervention plan is fostering family connection and collaboratively establishing routines. This involves holding a family meeting with Sarah's mum, dad, brother, myself as a social worker, and a peer recovery worker as a source of additional support as requested by Sarah. The goal is to establish a weekly routine in which Sarah can stay overnight in the family home and that this routine is suitable for all stakeholders. This would also include scope for alternative arrangements, such as staying with close friends Frankie and Freya if unforeseen circumstances were to occur. This routine would be evaluated regularly by holding monthly meetings with all stakeholders to review the aspects that are going well alongside any areas for improvement. It would also be beneficial to provide information about psychoeducation sessions to Sarah's immediate family members by linking them to carer support groups run by carer consultants at the community residential program. The third part of the intervention plan aims to empower Sarah to engage in activities that promote community connection and provide a sense of purpose and hope for the future. Respectful curiosity and exploration between Sarah and her peer recovery worker or a female counsellor as to what may have changed regarding Sarah's feelings towards peer facilitating art classes can potentially remove a barrier to community connection and see Sarah engage in activities that encourage positive coping strategies. It is important to acknowledge that the societal factors that impact the case management plan, and in particular the intervention plans. On a micro level, the voluntary participation of Sarah and her family members is fundamental to the overall effectiveness of the intervention plan. Further micro factors that are instrumental in all stages of the case management plan are Sarah's communication preferences, coping mechanisms, emotional and psychological well-being, and strengths. The availability, affordability, and frequency of art classes offered by the local neighborhood community center also impact Sarah's community engagement at a meso level. This is an important factor when linking Sarah with additional resources that support and empower her to pursue her interests, future aspirations, foster social connections, and enhance feelings of belonging. On a macro level, organizational policies and procedures, funding requirements, and government legislation need to be taken into account when considering the intervention in Sarah's case management. The community residential program currently has funding capacity for Sarah to attend a maximum of 2 counseling sessions per week with a female counselor. Carer support groups and psychoeducation sessions facilitated by carer consultants are currently held once a month due to operational constraints. Monitoring and evaluation is an ongoing process in case management. It is vital that Sarah's voice is heard and reflected in the methods used to evaluate, review, and record how the case management plan is progressing. This ensures that Sarah's perspective remains at the forefront of all decision-making processes, as in line with a strengths-based approach. Obtaining ongoing feedback in both written and verbal form from Sarah, her family members, and all stakeholders is a critical element of case management. This feedback can be received in various ways. This includes monthly progress review meetings involving all stakeholders, provided Sarah has given her consent, weekly one-on-one reviews with Sarah in order to track progress and identify any barriers that arise, utilization of numerical and visual rating scales, and maintaining accurate records and appropriate case notes. Research also indicates that an effective way of monitoring, reviewing, and determining readiness for case closure is to compare Sarah's completed EcoMap and timeline during the assessment phase with an EcoMap and timeline that depicts Sarah's current conduct. To summarize, Sarah's case management plan applies appropriate risk assessment and trauma-informed care in conjunction with the overarching goal to secure sustainable living arrangements and enhance Sarah's community connection through Sarah's long-standing interest in art. The actions to be undertaken involve external and internal referrals, collaboration with stakeholders, and scheduled weekly as well as monthly reviews. The case management plan is led by Sarah and supports Sarah's right to self-determination and autonomy and can be adjusted as Sarah's needs and goals change over time. It is imperative to be mindful of tensions in case management within the context of mental health service settings. The dominant discourses and diagnostic labels that are often used can perpetuate feelings of disempowerment for consumers. For this reason, Sarah's voice must remain central in all processes and considerations of the case management plan. That brings us to the conclusion of this meeting. Thank you all for attending.